You thought you were about to go into the video game. I know what you guys are thinking. You're thinking of Spoon 1000. I thought I was going to go into the video game that I'm about to watch. And to be honest, you are my door fans. I'm just going to take you there right now. In style. Yeah. Style indeed. Here we go. Warning. For those who are under 21, yes, I'm looking at you and telling you, cannot allow to watch this video, episode, series, or even playlist without your parents' permission. If you are watching this without your parents' permission, then you are a silly person. It's not my fault, it's your fault. You have been warned. Hello, hello, hello! Each one of you, ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, and ages, and all them. It is me, Superior 9000, but you call me Superior. Yes, that's right. The game streamer that nobody knows in the future, becoming an entrepreneur, extraordinary influencer, pro game streamer, actor, model, and character, broadcaster, and future wrestler. And yes, that is right, my daughter fans. You read the title, back once again playing and continuing the story series of Amorous. The story continues. Now, before we get down into the video game business, just going to throw down a few favorite cards down. That'll be the end of my turn, so at the end, we're going to stream a session. And if you're new to this channel, please press the button to subscribe, press the purple button to follow, and then press the green button to like, follow, subscribe, and support. And once you press those three buttons, you officially join the Superior 9000 Empire Corporation International Industry Enterprise to make the channel bigger, better, stronger, and more notable in the future to all other social media account platforms and game streaming channel account platforms. Now, enough chit chatting from your boy Superior 9000. Let's get into the video game business and let's get to work. Oh, and before I do, if you missed the previous episode, my Dory fans, do not worry. Your Superior will leave it in the description down below so each one you can watch it. And before we get into the video game business, as I said it once, I'll say it many more times again in the future. Yes, I'm looking at you and telling you, I hope you got your drinking game on. I hope you're I hope you got drinks and your snacks, and I hope you're chilling out on your bed, on a sofa, or even on your gaming chair and watching a series. Anyway, enough chit chat from me. Let's get into the video game business. Let's go, go, go. Right, another day, another night time that needs to become night again. Okay, that seems a bit all over the place though, that sentence. Never mind, never mind. Anyway, let's see. Also, I just realised we've got a new concept. Let's see who's available. A young writer seemed interested. He said he heading to the library today. Maybe I could still catch him. Calling Seth. Ring, 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 ring. Click. Yeah. Hello? Seth said. Superior replied, said, "Hi, it's Superior from Amorous, the club. You mentioned I should give you a call today, and since I just rolled out the bed, I figured now was a good time as any." Superior said, "Superior, oh, right. The interviewee. I'm glad to hear you call back. I just, okay, okay. Just on my way to the library now. It's a great day for a stroll." A loud thud on the other end of the phone was followed by someone muttering and grunting. Apparently, I distracted him in the middle of something. Was this a bad time to call? It seems like you well, you are having some difficulties there. Oh, no. I just had a few books I've been meaning to return before it became overdue. For sometimes I think the only reason the library stays open is because of the fees of what why not are paying, Seth said. Superiors replied and said, I take you a fairy reader as well. Seth said, definitely. What can't explain at the horizon enough? I'm just about to head inside. Do you want to drop by and meet me in the lobby? You know what? Why not? Sure. Let me just get ready and reasonable, decent, and I'll pop right over. Oh, you know what told me the reading was? I hope we didn't miss it. The spirit said. Seth replied and said, reading. Oh no. What time is it? Glancing at the clock, I saw it was a little after 10. After I mentioned it to Seth, he seemed to calm down. Seth replies, phew, sorry about that. Get a little too deep into my own head sometimes. The reading is at noon in the community room. We've got plenty of time. So people are like, good, well, we've got nothing planned this morning. So I'll just drop by since you already been there. We said our goodbyes. I try not to flinch every time I had another book dropped on the other end, and I hopped out of the bed to get dressed. Despite not needed to rush, I did feel a little concerned about making him wait. I scoop up the clean clothes. I got myself as close to presentable as possible. Kevin was around the kitchen, barely eyed, and in nothing but his underwear, as usual. As I was heading towards the door, why am I not surprised? And there are you, off into the wash, Kirby said. People are just meeting someone. An interesting guy at the club. Last night, I swear I'm not talking today. He invited me to an event. Kirby replied, oh, first date, huh? Don't get started, little bro. I heard everything that happened last night when you and your friends got back here, Spear said. Kirby replied, okay. Have fun, but I expect a full report. Ha ha, very funny. Kirby replied, I promise we'll dish all about him later. Kirby said later. Good. Right now, I need coffee and a shower. I followed back into the kitchen as I made my way out of the front door. Honestly, I hadn't been to the public library in ages. Between work and Cove's nightlife, I've been occupied to think about cultures. Probably why I was curious about this, not that my friends were dim, far from it, but they were more passionate about surfing, tanning, and chasing tails than discussing the latest popular literature or culture or history or beyond that. Last night was all about trying new things, so I figured this was another tick mark off my newest bucket list. The nerdy look may have also had some influence on my choice. Well, here we are. The truth is, his words have found has a couple of seats close enough to enjoy it, reader, but not intent for you. Everyone else was getting settled in, so I managed to make it to my seat with a minimum of fuss. Seth beamed at me before turning his attention back to the front of the room, and Nico, the Dave has settled on the lawn just outside the front door, glancing the last few rays of moonlight before the sun crested the horizon. I didn't know what was being read or who the author was. My card just outside the room had a few bits of information on it, but nothing that ranged a bell. Seth chuckled quietly, likely due to my confused expression. Surprisingly, his name is Nick Kovac. He's one of my favourites for a light read. Ah, I see. What was the colour of the clouds, and same unwashed crimson spilled in the rivulets across the floor before him. It was a body empty of life, and life empty of the meaning. Light read, what a definition of word light are you using? Spear said. Seth replied, it's general fiction, murder mystery, with a little thriller thrown in for a spice. It's got a way with words that really captured the imagination. Well, to be honest, my story I'm working on is probably got, well, probably not, yeah, actually probably nearly all of it, to be honest. Yeah. Sorry, if I want to be quiet, just had a bit of a message on the phone call. Sorry about that. You're gonna get that message or phone call. Do apologize, my fans, if I went quiet. As I was saying, it's a channel fiction in the history field thrown in for a spice. He's got a way with words that really captured the imagination. Nick said, the sound of booth and rattling the wind, a shaking the shutter pulled him from the river. Too soon they would be upon him, and thereafter he would join the woman he discovered upon the paving stone. Spearply said, it's certainly hard to not from a mental image you read a few of his books. Spearply, I read 14 in his current series. Wow, 14. I ain't read one yet. My public stories. I've got a few fan-made ones, but I ain't on public yet. Current series, I found him midway through the second, so I've got some insight I shouldn't have into the first. It made the I can't get the word. Miscued for me, and I haven't been able, being myself, to try and read it on. Gotta give this random character here credit. 14 books is where I'm impressed. Must be a lot longer than 14. Yeah, exactly 14. How many has he written in total? Spears said, separated about 28. 28? Oh my god, that's a lot. Also, he perfect sure, but that's why he decided 28. Oh my god, man. I ain't got one up yet. His statue rug out across the brown field. The pound off the heart and pain rattled from his shoulder. He held secrets best left unspoken, and his vision meant to silence him forever. Spirit said, "You said you were doing some research for your own story. How far along is that one?" Even in the dim light, I could see from crested the corners of his mouth. He sunk back into his chair for a moment before he whispering his response. Surprise said, "Honestly, not as well as I had hoped. Well, it is very private vocation, but that makes it even harder when you stare at an empty room and blank pages or page. Admit, I am here in part of the hopefully absorb some I'm a genius in the hopes of inspiration myself. To put pen paper." Here's what I said, "Just like at the club, you are here trying to gain inspiration through osmosis. Suppose somehow you make it sound more desperate than I intended." Huh. Um. Oh, I apologize. I don't mean to. That wasn't at all what I mean by it. Inspiration can be a fleckle. You've got to find the right source for it. This could be just as worthwhile as going for a walk or taking a long shower or something, Spear said. Seth replied, "Very much so. After a good book or a good reading, I do feel much more confident and focused." Spear said, "Then let's just sit back and let's just wash over you and see if it sparks something." What an idea, also, that comes in. He looked thoughtfully in a moment, glancing between the reader and me. A smile passed over his face as he leaned in close. Seth replied, "I have a proposition for you." "Wait for me?" "Some grand poetry was needed. Considering the number of people casting glares at the two of us from the seats in front. So I merely smiled and urged him on." Seth replied, "I bribe you with lunch and you serve as my sounding board?" "No, my man's unemployment did certainly encourage pursuing free lunches as often as possible. That, and I was curious as to what his project was." I nodded in agreement. His smile grew even bigger as he settled back into his chair. "Makes it far worse than iron bars and rain sinking concrete after the cells was acknowledged that escape would be possible. Beyond those walls he was hunted man, and only within their icy embrace could he hope to live another day." Seth nudge and applause rolled through the room, and I guess I hadn't been paying as much attention as I thought. The two of us made our way through the crowd and back out to the lobby. It was there that I noticed a small wooden table with a pile of books on it and others' pictures on a stand. Seth was busy chatting with some of the other attendants, so I found a place to sit down nearby. When we were finally stepped away, he made a beeline for me. "Oh, that's nice." So I was alright. There's a nice little coffee shop down the road. I've got a couple of books to grab before we go, so I can meet you there, or you can wait for me. Apparently Seth hadn't noticed the signing tables or the offer heading into that direction. He did mention enjoying his books. You know what? Will be nice. People said, why don't I just wait and see you back here in a sec? Seth replied, excellent, I'll just be a moment. Seth wandered off to the circulation desk while I went to the table. Thanks for coming. It was always nice to see a good turnout. Spearply said, you're welcome. First time I've been to a reading. I don't usually get out as much as I should. Then double thanks. It can be hard to compete with everything else out there to do. What can I do for you? Spearply said, my friend, he is a big fan of yours. Can I get a signed copy of your latest book for him? I goes, sure. It's part of the reason I'm here. Did you have something in mind for me to write? You know what? So, let's see. Which one should we get? Let's see. You know what? He's an observation of himself. Could you put in some words of encouragement? Of course, Nick said. Just tell me to not steal my audience. I have to eat too. He chuckled and wrote down a few inspirations words before signing his name with a flourish after I paid. I slid my book into my coat to keep it out of sight for a surprise. Thanks again for the coming. I've got another reading later on in a month. I hope to see you and your friend there. Nick said. Replied, I'll mention it to him, and thanks again. Seth replied back, hopefully. I didn't keep you waiting too long. Spear said, not at all. Shall we get going? Seth nodded, and the two of us looked out the front of the door and into the streets. I had to jiggle the book a little to keep it a secret, but Seth was listening to talking about the reading. It wasn't too difficult. Coffee shop was a nice little place, cozy and inviting. We settled into a table after grabbing a coffee each and a scone. I barely had time to take the first bite when Seth produced a number of notebooks. I sure to how many. Seth replied, says, my writings are a little sketchy. I tend to just grab at what I have and hardly to jolt my thoughts down. You all say that. So people are like, well, seems to me the first thing to do would be to get organized. You've got a bunch of bits and pieces, but have you considered what you want to do with them? So I said, I was thinking of maybe something involving the main, but I could also bring in a. I said, that sounds like a no. I just don't quite have my thoughts together. It's not as simple as that, you know. There has to be some So, no, it's okay. No, it doesn't mean there isn't something to work with. It just means you don't yet have a direction or a road to go on. Wasn't there a reason you wanted to do this? You're right, so. It was easy to get lost in my head, I suppose, Seth said. To people, I said, writing seems to be a really important thing for you. What got you started? Seth, I said, reading mostly. I've always been a little bookish and, well, I enjoyed so much of my time in other people's worlds that I wanted to make some of my own. That's kind of a bit similar to me, really, because I've had, because your boy's P9000, the YouTuber, the game streamer, and all that, Twitch streamer, and Kick streamer, Anyway, as I was saying, I've run most stories as well, even though I haven't got not one published yet. Even though I ain't finished any more books, but I read a lot of books, Doctor Who, Time Riders, Assassin's Creed. You know it, my Dory fans, I'll probably have to read that or not. Heck, even the Percy Jackson series and Torchwood books and so on. I assume you ain't just a writer since you're still working on a book. What else do you do with your time? Spears said. So replied, I'm not terribly fond of talking about it, just because it's embarrassing. Seth said, Spear replied, well, now have you to tell me? Seth said, I'm a trust fund kid. My parents have been fairly well off financially, and they set aside a sizable sum for me when I get older. Spear replied, that would explain why you are able to live in town. I was sort of brought along to the city with remarried when I was younger, and I've also been pretty fortunate in that regard. We've all been through that. So replied, not to be forward, but you don't seem terribly happy being idle. Spear said, my work had eaten up quite a bit of my free time, so when that obligation vanished, I just felt kind of lost. I'm glad my little bill got me out of the house, at least. So he sounded like a equally interesting person, in a different way, I suppose. Spear replied, he's a character, but I love him. He went on for a bit longer, chatting about this or that, until my coffee was gone and we turned our attention to the pile of notes which Seth had bought. So I said, I got an idea. You are right in that I spent a little too much time in my own head. Maybe what I need is some structure. I said, sounds good. What did you have in mind, then? Surprise said, since I can't seem to settle on something, why don't you tell me what I should write? That's a good question. Very good question indeed. People said, really? With all your talks, what's an inspiration? Supplied, I think of it as an exercise. You give me a framework to build from, and I'll write the story. It gives me a focus and keeps me from wandering. Alright, I suppose that makes some sense. Why me though? Spears said. Suppose because then we both have some investment in the final piece. That will make it all the more likely you keep humoring me. Spear says, fair enough. Where should we start? Or when do we start? At the beginning, what kind of should I write? Sci-fi, fantasy, romance, or horror? That is a good question. Hmm. Hmm. Let's go with a bit of sci-fi. I always like science fiction. From pictures like technology and events that can affect the entire galaxy or timeline. Maybe a little outside of type for me. But just like the club, this is all about pushing boundaries. Seth said. That's true. Okay. How do you see the main character? Is there some defining feature you like? That is a good one. Hmm. Hmm. We'll say heroic. I like the idea of someone you can root for. Someone who is fighting the good fight or doing the right thing. Seems like the real life doesn't live up to that as much anymore, Spears says. That's about hero, huh? Perhaps a little glitch, but sometimes glitchy exists for a reason. Certainly plenty of source and material to pull from, Seth said. Surprised and continues, I'm getting some great ideas here. I told you that you would make an excellent news. Spear replied, glad I can help. That said, I've got a question for you this time. Surprised, oh, so an interview becomes the interviewee. My how the tables have turned. Spear replied, it's quite the plot twist anyway. I was wondering, what do you plan on doing with the story after you are done? Seth replied that I haven't really considered. It's probably something I shouldn't even worry about until it's written. I think you should keep it in your mind, pondered it. I also think that you should keep those notebooks away. Let this story build itself. You'll be less inclined to overwhelm yourself. Supply said, fair enough, but I reserve the right to call you the inside of it's done. I need to I need your eyes on it as soon as it's out of the printer, Seth said. Spear said, it's a deal. Looking at the clock, I noticed we already spent quite a while chatting back and forth. Despite not having a set schedule of my own, I figured Seth may have another piece to go. Spear says, well, it's afternoon already. I don't want to keep you. I mean, if you're busy. Seth replies, I should get to it. The fresher the ideas are in my head, the more likely I'll be able to actually keep with it. He smiled up for me at the moment before we both Glen Gleary. The table standing up and tugging in our chairs. Seth says, Superior, thanks again for this. It's the most motivated I've been in quite a while, and it was a good to spend time with you. Superior said, same here, you're a very interesting person to be around with, Seth, and it's a nice change of pace. It's very interesting. Not at all. You are also extremely adorable and sweet when you ain't wrapped up in your own thoughts, Spirit said. So I still take the compliment, thanks. You've got my number, right? Give me a call if you have any questions or if you just like to chat. Superior said. Surprise, I think so. You call me. Right. Superior said, let me just write it down so you don't lose it. Let's go down for it and put it in his pocket, smiling happily at the offer as he checked his notebook was a secure one last time. Surprise, I will make a sample, but hopefully I'll burn some use of your opinion, Superior. Thank you. Oh, I almost forgot, Superior said. I got this for you. I know how much you like that offer, and I thought it would be a nice gift, Superior said. When I handed him the novel, his eyes went wild. A smile spread across his face in an instant, and he looked back at me, beaming. Surprised, you got me a signed copy? I didn't even realize he was doing signings. Spirit, this is the best thing I've ever gotten. Before I could react, he leaned up against me, wrapping his arms around me and pressing it to mine. We both began to blush. After the moment of acceleration began to fade, he quickly pulled away and glanced down towards the floor. Sorry, I didn't mean that. That's cool. Replied, oh please, don't be sorry. Step forward towards as well as eventually against his, giving his cheeks a soft stroke before running away. Barely under put one more from his chest before he turned his head to regain his composure. Surprised, I have to remember to not let you go so soon next time. Well, I need to get going. Got to keep the story fresh, Seth said. We said our goodbyes and parted after a final lingering hug. As I watched him leave, I felt a sense of happiness I had experienced in the past few weeks. Writing was a very important thing to him, and in the span of a cup of coffee and cake, he wanted me to be part of that. I had been that important of a person to anyone but Kirby recently. Work had kept me busy, but without that, I began to realize that I wanted something more. Maybe this could be that something. Either way, I needed to be ready with this when I get home, or Kirby will never stop pestering me. Well, look, I managed to go back in my bedroom. Just in case, I better save it. There we go. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls and strangers, and all of them, I am going to end the video here. If you like this, then I am going to add to my free face down cards. First, that's my first face down card. Subscribe me, Wolfzone, Legendary Professor, Night Wolf, Futuristic Champion, and Pokemon and others, but wait, I am not done just yet. I to my second face down card. Please press the red button to subscribe, press the purple button to follow, and press the green button to like, follow, subscribe, and support. And once you press those three buttons, you officially join the Superior 9000 Empire Corporation International Industry Enterprise to make the channel bigger, better, stronger, more noticeable in the future to all other social media account platforms and game streaming channel account platforms. But wait, I'm not done just yet. Adding my third and final FaceTime card, which I'll leave this in the description down below. Say from your social media universe world website. And the social media universe world website are Discord, Steam, Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, and of course Twitch and Kick. And once you follow, subscribe, support me, you officially join the Superior 9000 Empire Corporation International Industry Enterprise to make the channel bigger, better, stronger, more noticeable in the future to all other social media account platforms and game streaming channel account platforms. This is Superior 9000, the game streamer that nobody knows in the future, becoming entrepreneur, extraordinary influencer, pro game streamer, actor, model, creator, writer, broadcaster, and feature wrestler. Sign up. Okay, everyone, take care, stay home, be safe, wash your hands, do this away, and of course, most importantly, most poorly, videos, wear masks, and I'll see you on your next video. But before I go, I have one thing to say. Let's play game streamers like myself, also legendary, and others can do big things, especially on. Thank you for flying Superior 9000 Chat. We have you enjoyed this videos, support, subscribe to this channel and other platforms as well.